I knew that was gonna happen. No, I need to buy a lapel. Don't worry, just bear with me. I'm trying to set the two phones. Hello, banker. Yay, I'm waving at you as well. I don't know how to pin the topic on Instagram. Bear with me. Let me try and put the topic there. Can someone tell me how to pin the topic on Instagram, please? Protecting your marriage from adultery. Hi, Ovie. How are you? I saw your message. Don't mind me. I was trying to sort out Facebook on my laptop. I know there are many that don't know, right? I don't know why I don't know that thing. Okay, we're gonna start. Yo. Okay, yeah, Father Lord, we give you praise. I'm just saying this, okay? Don't worry about it, okay? Don't be there. Father Lord, we give you praise. Thank you, Lord, for a new day. Thank you for another day to learn. Thank you for your grace, your wisdom, first far. We ask that God you speak to our hearts. We ask that God you take control. We ask that God you give us wisdom. We ask that God you nudge us at the right points, that you want us to take home. And we ask that home to be revived. Lord, will be kindled in the hearts of many from tonight's session. In Jesus' name, amen. Ovie, it's Ovie. I'm fine. It's been a long day. But I'm fine. We're here. Yay, Brother Grillo is here. Dr. Jabba is funny, but it's fine. Yay, bro. Shayolu Rotimi, good evening, sir. How are you? How's my sister doing? Alright, so the topic for us is quite straightforward. Protecting your marriage from adultery. Yesterday, I saw a post on Olori Supergirl. And it was a post about a lady who came out and said that my husband had gone to Dubai. Had traveled, to Dubai for work or something. But as she was cleaning up the house, she saw her husband's passport. And so she was saying, seriously, he's in Dubai, but his international passport is here anyways. I mean, that's supposed to be like a teaser, but also just to say that, this is an evidence to what we're saying. I mean, my DM is so full, my heart breaks, at the fact that people don't actually want to fall for this thing, but they just fall, One of the things that I read when I was preparing, the lady said, we always think that we're strong. We think that, my marriage is happy. Someone said, when you hear that, the marriage has come to an end, or there's a divorce or something happened, the first question we always say, the first reaction is, I thought they were happy together. I thought, they're a happy couple. They used to wear the same clothes to church, They used to do, because we always think that, because they look happy from a distance, things are in order, and so that's what this video is about today. What are we not paying attention to? What should we be paying attention to? What could we be ignoring that could be an open door to adultery? Also that we should stand. The Bible says, having done all, stand still. Do you understand? Be careful. Don't rest on your oars, or Nigerian network will be fine. Don't rest on your oars, And so that's what this is about. So we're going to pray. We're going to keep praying for our spouses, our marriages. So this is really for those who have happy homes right now. We're happy, we're good, you can't really sniff or smell any problem. Fantastic. We're in the same shoes and we're learning tonight. Oh my God. There is a loud noise at the background. I know the loud noise is from the laptop. Thank you for telling me that, Brown Coco. How are you, Brown Coco? See, yeah, my sister-in-law is here. Early years, mother and child. Okay, let me see. Let me take it away from there. Is it better now? Can you tell if it's better now, Brown Coco? Oh, I may have to shout today. I've lost the I've lost the Facebook, guys. Okay, I think that's the only way we're gonna get the noise out anyway. So let's just keep at it. I've lost the Facebook, guys. Okay, so where was I? Yeah, so anyway, so that's what this is about anyways. We're gonna keep praying. We'll keep praying for our spouses. We'll keep praying for our home. Thank you, Rhoda. Thank you. We'll keep praying for our spouses. I've lost the Facebook, guys, unfortunately, because the laptop has gone off and I'm not just gonna put it on because of time. We'll keep praying, we'll keep trusting God, because that's the first thing. When I was preparing my notes, I said, I quoted a scripture, and I said that, in Ecclesiastes 4 is very clear in verse 12. If you open it, it says that, though one can be overpowered, two people can defend themselves, and then a cord of three strand is not easily broken. It's the Bible that says it. And that's really what marriage is about. It's easy for one person to be overpowered, but when there are two people, the idea of two people is that you can combine your strengths. Your strengths can cover your weaknesses, the other person's weakness, and the other, and also on the other side as well. But also that you can watch each other's backs. That's what marriage should be about. That you can be strong for each other, you can talk to each other, you can be vulnerable with each other, and not take it for granted. And then now says a three cord, a cord of three strands cannot be easily broken. When you say a cord of three strands, as far as marriage is concerned, is husband, wife, and God. Do you understand that cord cannot be broken? And so that's where I'm starting from today. That the first place is the place where God is in your marriage, the position God is in your marriage. Do you understand? I was talking to one of my mentees this week, a guy who called me and was talking about his new babe and all of that. We're just, he was just sharing, and I was counseling him, and I said to him that one major thing that I have learned in life is that if you look for a spouse, or if you're with a spouse who fears God, with a spouse who has a heart that wants to please God, it will make things easier. You can almost beat your chest that, this person would not bring me such, sadness and all of that. However, from the testimony of Tamara, which I'm going to share, her story, it's obvious that, sometimes people who are even strong in church, actually fall. Now, let me go to Tamara's story before I now begin to give out the points. This is a story I actually found online. I do a lot of research. I was embarrassed today when I was on the train and I was reading a lot on infidelity, and I had the heading of the stuff as how to deal with infidelity and all of that. And I'm sure the people around me would have watched that, okay, what's happening to this babe, but it's all for us. It's for you to learn, for me to learn, and I'm going to keep doing it. But, we cannot, hey, hello, Hafiz, we cannot be ignorant. You cannot say, oh, because we're having it all rosy, we have to pay attention to each other. So let me tell you what happened to Tamara. Tamara says she's 41. She said, I'm an unlikely candidate for an extramarital affair. That's what she said. Bob and I have been married for 19 years. So you can imagine, 19 years of marriage, and this happened to them. She said that she had always been at home as a stay-at-home mom, but that she now felt that she needed to take a job because her kids were a big one and they were going to college, and that she wanted to support the college funding for their kids. And so she thought, oh, let me get a job. And she got a job as a secretary in a public relations company. And of course, it was good. She said, she also liked it because she had always admired a lot of her friends who were always changing their wardrobes, always going out, always having extra money to splurge. That's how she writes it. So you can see that I'm looking at it. So that's how she writes it. Said they're always having money to splurge. And so she wanted that as well. And so when the job came, it was like, oh, fantastic. Thank you everyone for joining. You're welcome. Modupe, Ashake. I said, fantastic. So she took the job. But apparently because she had been home for a while, her skills had not been, refined. You can just imagine being at home for a while and not working. Things change every day. But anyways, she was at work. And she was struggling with a lot of things. I mean, I can just imagine it was very easy for me to understand, struggling with maybe all the package, all the Excel and all the Microsoft, whatever that are now coming up, Dynamics and things like that. So apparently she almost wanted to resign. She's like, oh, I can't deal with this, just before they sack me, let me get myself out of here. But for some reason, I think the senior manager noticed and said, oh, you know what? I'm going to hand you over to the IT guru, and that he introduced the IT guru to her and said, please, Steve, can you take care of Tamara for me? Put her through this and that, and all of that. So he started helping her. And for some reason, she needed more sessions, according to him. And so he said, oh, that she would have to start coming on Saturday mornings, and they will have sessions. And that when she had to go, and so of course, our spouses as well would not want to sort of, what's the word, hinder us when we were having like a new opening. They want to support us, And so she started going for Saturday morning coaches as well, coaching with this guy. And that he would reward her with lunch packs, maybe buy her lunch and say, oh, because you did this and you did this well, he would buy her lunch and all of that. And then later, he moved on to sending her emails, funny messages via emails in the office. So he would send messages and then he would walk by her table and then, wink at her and be like, oh, you haven't responded to that email. And everybody else would think it's some serious email, but apparently some funny, flirty email. Now, let me pause here and just mention a couple of things already that I have a problem with. Now, the first thing is I feel I picked out from Tamara's story and how she said that she had always envied her friends when they have when they talk about shopping, when they go out for meetings, when they do those kind of things and they splurge. She actually said the occasional splurges that their salaries are loud, and she said to myself, now is my turn, and that's why she grabbed the job. Now I kind of feel like there was a point where she became unsatisfied and maybe, let me use the word discontent, because I think it's okay not to be satisfied, like I want more, but I think she wasn't. Let me take that back. So she wasn't satisfied with her situation. And I think that the satisfaction can be one way, do you understand, one signal that you should watch out for in your marriage. So you're happy, you guys are good, you love each other, everything, but begin to look out for that moment where it looks like someone is being uncomfortable, someone is being, everything, the person is feeling like, oh, I want more. It's good to want more, but the chase for more can lead to this kind of thing, so you need to be able to discipline yourself. You need to be able to check yourself. That's the word. Check yourself. The reason you want more. Why do you want more? Because also, you can get carried away by that why. I'm always very big on why. I don't think there's ever any speaking session I've ever done that I don't talk about why. So why do you want more as well? Look at her reasons were very clear. And so you can understand why maybe she would have gotten lost even in the midst of it, because, oh, I want more money, I want us to be able to do this. And so even when the guy was bringing all the red signals, we should have made her just say, you know what, this job, hold yourself, oh, I'm going back home to my marriage. She didn't. I hope you see that point. That's one point. Now, the second point is that he started sending her funny messages, and she wasn't talking to anybody about it. So one of my points is that even though you would pray, the Holy Spirit can do so much. And trust me, I say that from a place of experience and knowledge. The Holy Spirit can help us in many ways when these things happen to us, because your spouse will not always be with you. But can I say that please make sure that you and your spouse, you are always talking. You are always talking, because that's why you're there for each other. And that's why I had to read that Bible verse from Ecclesiastes. The fact that both of you can always watch each other's backs. You're not perfect. You're human. Okay, so once you remember that, oh, I'm not an angel, I'm a human being, so there's a human factor still somewhere, then you must be able to let the other person back you up, sort of, and help you. Now that I've said that, I also want to mention quickly that, also be that spouse that they can tell those kind of things. So, it's easy to say, oh, tell your spouse, speak to your spouse, you can run to your spouse quickly. But also, the question you want to ask yourself tonight, even in the midst of our marriage is fine and everything, are you that spouse that your husband can come and say, oh, this babe has been flashing her boobs at me at work, or this babe has been cornering me? There are babes that actually corner men in the office, and they are carrying files like this, and they will say, hey, I know. And that's the truth. Can you actually tell your husband, oh, there's this guy who's been sending me funny, flirty messages, so are you that husband that a wife can tell that to? Because that's also one of the problems, because the moment you have lost that relationship where, a husband can tell a wife, this is what's happening. Oh, my boss has been saying we must go for one meeting in Abuja. I mean, I remember watching Jennifer. Jennifer is a very good, example. Jennifer's that I watch it, I love it. And there's this particular scene where, what's this guy's name? Oh God, I can't remember. That Igbo guy, that is married to that babe that runs the cleaning. Oh, why did I forget their name? That runs the cleaning organization, and he didn't tell his wife initially that the boss at work had been, flirtatious and everything, and been trying to kiss him at work and everything. Eventually, he had to open up. I know the moment he did, they became strong enough to say, we may have to bullshit this job. We may have to to hell with the job. Our marriage is more important. I mean, how could she have been doing this? Because the babe had been at home thinking, oh, this boss that loves us, that sends me gifts, comes to visit the baby. Because the lady actually comes home to visit the baby. And she never knew, she was ignorant, So please be that spouse. In the midst of a lot of things, I know we argue, we have differences, and it's normal. Please don't feel abnormal. It's normal. But be that spouse that your husband can talk to, your wife can talk to. Because the moment they can't talk to you, when they're facing these kind of things, particularly in our country where, everything is hard, you don't want to lose your job, things because a lot of these things happen in the offices. If you looked at my post yesterday, a friend of mine sent a WhatsApp and said, the funny thing is, many people were actually talking about, their husbands cheating or their wives cheating in a group that she belongs to. And that majority of them were from the office, because that's where you also spend a lot of time. And so also another point is be careful how much time you're spending, away from home. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes people even go on a 3 months away from home, so the qualities of the person. That's why I started with the fact that a person who fears God and seeks God and, knows God very well, but also be careful, because one of the things I also saw was that she was staying away from her husband a lot. So she was having Saturday sessions. She was, you have to be careful, because when you spend time with people, even though teamwork is helping us at work now and everything, we're doing things, we are surmounting, challenges with teamwork, and we are being more innovative and everything. Teamwork at work is super. But a lot of times, sometimes, even in the midst of that teamwork, opposite sexes can begin to, have attractions for each other. They don't care, my love, you're welcome, Wumi. You're welcome, Inyulwa, you're welcome. So, and I saw that when she said, she started Saturday sessions with the guy, and he would take her for lunch when, he felt that she was doing well. And then he started sending funny messages and emails to her. But she didn't tell her spouse. Communication is so key. Like I said, be that spouse that your husband can speak to. Be that spouse that your husband or wife can say to, oh, someone is flirting at me at work. Oh, someone is sending me funny messages, and all of that. So she said something again. She said, he seemed to notice everything about me. He seemed to always know when I had a new hairstyle on. He seemed to know when I had a new perfume on, and he wasted no time in complimenting me. So that's something else as well. And one of the reasons why I'm saying this is because I know life can be so busy. I know life can be tough as well, even especially back home. Even here, trust me, here is even worse off, because the hustle is back to back here in the UK, and let's just be sincere, it's back to back. And so you want to be careful that you are not ignoring your spouse. You're paying attention to them, as much as possible. Notice a new pimple on your wife's face, okay? Even on your husband's face, look at their eyes and really check, how are you? You should know when your wife has a new hairstyle, and you should be able to say, oh, babe, your hair is lovely. Pay compliments. One of the things I also wanted to share today is that please don't stop dating each other. I think that we do that a lot because we are now married, But like there's this quote I always say: never stop dating each other. The dating even should just start on a high note when you're married to each other. That's the truth. Why would you stop doing what you were doing to get the lady because you are now, you're now married, or even to be with the man? A lot of us too, as well as women, you look all good, make your hair, your nails are on point before you get married. You get married and you feel like you don't have to do that anymore. Oh, well, you may have to keep at it, because it's part of just remaining attractive. So you also have to remain attractive to your spouse. Now, she said that although his attention set off internal warning signals, I ignored all of them. I was an adult after all, and she felt like she could actually hold the relationship. Remember that she said she was very active in church, that she and her husband are very, very active in church. She said on the surface, her marriage was fine, but apparently she had not been enjoying a warm, comfortable, relationship sort of with her husband. It was good. They were committed to each other, but, they were not having time for that. So she said, I know my husband loved me, and daily assurances came not in words, but in our willingness to pitch in and share duties. So you see, that's the thing. We get busy with chores. We get busy with all the to-dos. And one of the points she made, she said to me, she said her husband was more long futuristic than in the present. Now, and that's one of the problems that we also have right now. A lot of us don't live in the present anymore. Because of all the goals we have, we want to build a house. We want to, send our kids to the very good secondary school. So we're working hard. We're hustling. We're doing the work. We're doing the side hustle on the side. Men and women, we're letting that steal the moment. So what do I mean when I say that? So find time to take each other out, to just talk, to just be in bed and just look into each other's, eyes, to just love up on yourself, Don't let the hustle, the money for the future you're looking for take away this moment, because you may even lose each other now, which I think is what happened to her. Because at 41, you would wonder, you would think, oh, all of that shouldn't matter to her anymore. No. She said she did not realize that romance had even slipped away from her marriage until it started appearing through her colleague who was now sending her roses. He said she would meet roses on her car. Imagine that. And that she would also meet silly cards popped up on her laptop in the office or on a coffee mug, and that he would have put something like, oh, you look sexy, blah blah blah. It reminds me of when my husband was asking me out. So you can imagine someone is doing that. So don't stop doing those little things. A text message from nowhere: I love you, babe, I miss you, you're the best. I remember the day my husband said, oh, good morning, sunshine. It was such, those little things just warm your heart. So please don't stop doing them. So be that spouse that is paying attention. Be that spouse that is loving your wife, your husband till now, till now and forever, And then she said something about the fact that Steve was exciting. She said her husband was dependable, but Steve was exciting. So please, let's not lose the spice, okay? So let's not lose the spice because, like I said, we're trying to get things done, or because things are even happening. Life may be happening to us. Maybe we're not achieving a lot. Even at that, enjoy the moment. You can never bring back yesterday. That's one thing I always say to myself. And I think I always do that as well. I make sure that I and my husband have time, as much as we can, even if it's once in a month, even if it's just sitting there inside the car. But just loving up and just, not talking about the bills or anything that's happening. Just make sure that you're connecting. It's very important. Flirt, poke each other. We do that a lot. Play. Sometimes pillow fight. Just bond. Because the truth of the matter is that, like I always say, what you don't nurture, it wouldn't grow. And you always look at the other side and say it's greener, but it's greener because they're nurturing it. They're pouring water. They're exposing it to sun. So you need to do the same as well. Now, she said that she couldn't even talk to anybody about it. So that's also another problem. I also feel like, and I think I said that as well earlier, that you should be able to talk to each other. But also, you should also have one or two people that you should be able to run to when you know you're about to get into trouble. The Bible says that temptation will come. But the Bible also said to us that the temptation that will come to you, there is no temptation that will come to you that you don't have the power to get out of it. That because the God you serve has made a way for you to escape. So when you don't escape, it's because either you have ignored the way to escape, or you maybe close the door to the way to escape. And so let's create those escape routes, because temptation will come, but we must do our best to get out of temptation. That's what this is about. Anyways, she said her new job came with long hours, and he provided the excuse for her not to be available at home at Wednesday night Bible study, and for her decision to drop out of their church couple club. So they were members or workers of the church couple clubs, but she all of a sudden didn't have time anymore because of the work. And she said, I gradually withdrew from my family, our church, and our friends. They only reminded me that what I was doing was wrong. That's another thing. So even as a couple, you need to make sure that you're involved in each other's lives. When I was writing one of the signs, one of the ways to know if someone is cheating, when your spouse is cheating, is that they move away, they withdraw from people over time, even from you. And so pay attention to each other. Is your spouse withdrawn? Sometimes withdrawal may just be because they're going through stuff at work. And even if they're going through some stuff at work, you should know. And that's why I'm saying that you must be that spouse that your husband or your wife can speak to. They can tell you the challenges that they have at work. You can't be that spouse that they don't talk to you about what's happening in the office. No, you can't. It's not allowed. You should know. And you should even know who is who at work. I read another story where the lady said that she did not even know her husband was cheating until when he asked for a divorce. She said he kept on talking about let me give an example. Imagine if my name is Jacqueline Daniel. Jacqueline Daniel, yes. And so, when he comes home once in a while, he just say, oh, there's one Daniel colleague that we just have now. Yeah, that Daniel is so funny. That Daniel is so this. And that all the while, apparently, Daniel was Jacqueline Daniel, but that she didn't realize, she didn't know, she just didn't have a clue, I also think that as much as you can, know people, know colleagues, pop in for a surprise visit. Yes, be known. Be known. And also always wear your ring, couples. That's something I was going to share as well. Always wear your rings. All those people that always say that their ring is, always wear a ring. Because it declares your status clearly to anybody. Yes, some girls and some people, even with the ring, they still cheat. Yes, we know, but please declare your ring. We're talking about happy couples now and how you should protect your marriage so that nobody will infiltrate. So that's what we're talking about today. So that's that as well. She said that her relationship with that guy was emotional, and that was a good time for her to stop it, but she did not, and it progressed to sexual. So they started seeing, after their training sessions, they would go somewhere and have sex, and she started lying again to support it. She said she couldn't take it anymore. She began to feel guilty, and of course she knew that she had to leave. But she said she, on her own, went to the management and said, please, can you move me to another branch? She said, I did that. She said, I had to put that move, a move that puts Steve physically away from my life. I missed him, but I didn't miss the deception that our relationship had now built. He accepted my decision with no argument, tried to make me feel like he was in love with me, but no, I knew I was doing the wrong thing. And so she left. She left eventually, but she took the steps. And that's another thing as well. I was going to say that we need to be very intentional. We need to hold our marriage, in high regard. Yes, I said I was going to read that Bible verse to us. I think I wrote it down. Hebrews 13:4 says that hold marriage in honor. God's judgment awaits the adulterer. If you open Hebrews 13 verse 4, it's there. It's there. So the way you also hold your marriage as a couple is very important. So even though you're happy and everything, what's the priority? So is it God, my marriage, or God, work, my marriage? There's a way, even from the way you set your priority. And that can tell, because when temptation comes, those are the walls that temptation want to crack in through. Those are the walls that temptation want to crack in through. The walls of, okay, his marriage is not even important to him anyways. Her marriage is not even important to her anyway. She wants to get up the career ladder. That's what's important to her anyway. So the devil knows already. And so that's why all of these things are the things you have to put in place. Now, I've made those points from Tamara's story. She had to confess to her husband, and she said, shockingly, when she told her husband, one of the options, the only option that she did not see coming was forgiveness. He actually forgave her, and I think that that's a very good thing to learn as well, to know that adultery doesn't always mean the end of a marriage. We commit sin, God forgives us. Adultery is not one of those things that are unforgivable. That's the truth. But that's not the topic for us. We'll talk about that later. I have another session, a very powerful one for those whose spouses are cheating. But another thing is prayer. Prayer needs to become an integral part of your lives. So one of the things you want to look out for as well. Now you're happy, everything is going on where you don't have a problem. But please keep praying. Let the prayer altar in your home not die. Let the prayer altar in your home not die. Comfortable marriages, they aren't always healthy ones. That's the truth. That your marriage is comfortable and okay doesn't mean that it's healthy. And so you have to be careful to check for the kwashiorkor signs, And so what are all the other kwashiorkor signs? Your sex life. What's your sex life like? Sex is a big deal. And sex is not just let's just do and go. Sex is let's satisfy each other and then we can now go and sleep, go and do whatever. But the word satisfaction must always define your sexual relationship. Do you understand? So that's very key, because a lot of times you would hear that people will say, oh, I'm not satisfied with or whatever. We're not enjoying it. Oh, my wife is not giving it to me well. Or I want it this way and, she's not succumbing, blah, blah, blah. Or, he's not satisfying me. There are women who are also like that. Who are like, oh, no, he's not, and they're out there. And so this is not validating the reason anybody's cheating. The fact that somebody's cheating is not your fault. It's their fault. It's their person. It's their self. Their weak self. Their undisciplined self. Whichever one is the word. So it's not because you are not doing something. However, these are ways that we can make sure that we protect our marriage. So please, lack of sexual gratification inside a marriage relationship can spur an unsatisfied spouse to seek sex outside marriage. especially when some people are flaunting it in their faces. Let's be sincere with ourselves. So if for any reason you know that that's a problem, you need to begin to address it now. Talk to each other. Babe, are you satisfied? Was that a good round? These are the kind of conversations that I have with my husband. Are you okay? Sometimes like I want one more. Jonathan. And I'm being real with you guys because it's a need and you have to meet that need. Not just let's do and have children. No, that's not what it's about. You have to satisfy each other. The Bible also says clearly that because of temptation to sexual sin in 1 Corinthians 7 verse 2, it says that because of temptation to sexual sin, each man should have his or her own wife and each woman her own husband. So this is why adultery is also not allowed. This is why adultery is a sin, because Bible clearly says there is one man to one wife. Now, but this also tells me as well that, sex is a big deal. And so I, as a husband and the wife, should be able to meet our sexual needs. So yes, please, I'm not validating it that, if the sex is not good, no. That's not what this is about. But the fact that you must mutually satisfy each other. It is very, very important that you don't just have sex, but you satisfy each other. It calls for special attention, actually, to know what works for your spouse and what works for you, so that you both can meet each other's needs. It's like your work. If your customer needs B and you are selling M, you will never meet their needs. So you need to understand, and this is where that's why communication will always be a big deal. That's why no marriage should ever lose their communication channel, because you will talk about these things. So you want to say, please, I don't like it. I don't like it when you touch this place, or I like it when you touch that place, or it works perfect when you do this, or can you calm down more, or can you move up? And you see, I'm being so real now with you on this sex matter, because it's a big deal. It's a big deal. If you marry that man or that woman, then you were made to satisfy him or her. So make sure that both of you are satisfying each other. Now, avoid, emotional relationships outside of your marriage. I think we could see that from Tamara's story, Sometimes it will be an old fling. Sometimes it could be a long-time crush that just crops up again. Or sometimes it's a colleague. I heard a gist recently about a gym instructor and the woman, nice wife like me, like this, wanting to burn her tummy fat. Hello, Sister Seniola, Duck Spicy, Father Usia tummy wa Oluwaseun. Hello, everybody. She wanted to flatten her tummy like me too. I want to flatten my tummy. And she was going to the gym. As the instructor is helping, I don't know whether they look into each other's eyes too much. I don't know the chemistry. But lo and behold, they fell for each other. She started cheating. And that's why you must have boundaries in place, and that's why you must talk to your spouse. That's why you must know when to run. Like, run. Once you see that something like that is about to happen, run. And that's a factor. That will come out from where you put your marriage. Like, no, I can't mess up. I can't do this. No, I can't, commit this sin. I can't do this to God. The moment you see your marriage about just your husband or your wife alone, then there's going to be a problem. The moment you see your marriage about is a lot more than that. It's a covenant you've made before God. And so you must do everything. Every day your decisions must be to honor that covenant. And so the moment, imagine a gym instructor and a wife like me. Imagine, just because I want to flatten my tummy. But it just tells you also that you need to watch your back. Anyway, so please avoid emotional relationships. Set boundaries. Once you start talking to someone of the opposite sex about emotional things, serious things. Oh, how are you? And you begin to talk about what is outside while you are there. So whether you are in the gym or at work or in church, in church. I'm saying that again. It happens, brothers, something and sister, something. Married people, and they are doing stuff. You can imagine. And so this is why we must not let our guards down. Says even if you think you stand, please check yourself very well. And in this age where we are in social media age, where people are checking each other out, you see people you're on Instagram and saying, see this babe, see how she's set. And these days that people are taking pictures now and they push out their bum, And so that's why we must even pray, God help us. Different things. People are checking out guys, see their six packs. Even women are checking out, because that's what social media is it puts us in that space where we're just checking each other out, comparing the greener grass over there that you don't know what's happening over there. So we need to be careful. So I've talked about not, having an intimate relationship, emotional relationship with the opposite spouse. I've talked about lack of sexual gratification. Please, if that's happening now, revisit it, talk about it, take a break, go for a retreat. Just say this retreat is to revamp our sexual life. Like, just say, babe, this weekend we are going to revamp. As in, this is how real you must be. And I was going to talk about that. If you are married and you're not vulnerable with your spouse, you can't be real with your spouse, please, you need to sit down and talk to each other again. I don't think anybody else knows anything, about me more than my husband. That's how it's meant to be. And so I can be weak with him. I can be vulnerable. I can just tell him anything. So anyways, now also about sex. Now, some people have low and high sexual drive. It shouldn't be a problem. You must meet yourself halfway. So because some people say, oh, my husband's sexual drive is too, you must be able to meet yourself halfway. Some people will say, oh, he wants you too many times. You must be able to meet each other halfway. I can go on and on and on about that. If you need to talk to me about that, we can always have a chat on DM. Now, another thing to look out for is the fact that you need to be best friends. Best of friends. No secrets from your spouse. No secrets. Because I say that because, a lot of times we're friends, we're close, yeah, but sometimes you still have something you're keeping. And the moment you can keep one thing, you are able to keep another and another. And so please, you want to watch out for that. I have said that you should have expectations and boundaries as a couple, and it's for both of you. So you're telling each other, when this is beginning to happen, let me know. When this is beginning to happen, this is what we should do. Both of you agree, And so when it happens, you tell yourself, I'm out of here. Draw lines on social media use if you want to. Draw lines on being alone with the opposite sex. Draw lines on texting. Draw lines on anything and you stick to them. Somebody said to me that he doesn't carry single women when he finishes from church. A married man said, I don't carry single women. No, it's the agreement I and my wife have. I'm like, what? So you won't give them a ride home even if they live next? It's like, no, I will give them Okada money or I'll give them cab money. I'm like, wow. But that's what they want for each other. That's one of the ways they're protecting their marriage. You may say, oh, that's absurd. No, they're watching each other's backs. I found that ridiculous as well, but I understand it now with the way I'm hearing about these things happening here and there. So that's something else. Have expectations and boundaries as a couple and stick to them. I mean, that's the example. It just hits it home for me, set your boundaries and be bold enough to state your boundaries. If anybody needs to hear, like, oh, I and my husband agree that we're not going to do this. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't text me after 7 p.m. Or, like, duh, that's it, please. And that comes from holding your marriage in high regard, like the Bible says. Make your spouse your priority. Spoil your spouse, not just your children. A lot of us, we do that a lot. Oh, my kids that, my kids that, my kids that, spoil your spouse. See, in all fairness, yeah, I know that, yeah, we want to give our kids the life that we didn't have and all of that, which is something I want to do, I'm trying to do, but spoil your husband, spoil your wife. They will always long for you. Think about it the other way. Imagine if you come home to somebody who is doting on you, who has maybe, and doesn't have to be a big deal, chocolate is waiting for you or something, And they go, okay, great, welcome, Oluwaseun, welcome. Or they're just doing something, maybe you just come, oh, honey, I've made dinner. I don't know what it is. Oh, honey, I bought us a ticket to go to, Cancun. Or I don't know, all these nice places they're going. I want to go. Myself, I want to go now. I mean, who would not want to always come home? I don't know if you get what I mean. So don't be that grumpy wife. Don't be that husband who is just insensitive. So please, I know you're happy, nothing is happening now, but these are the steps you can take to make sure that nothing happens in the future. So please, make your spouse a priority. Nobody would run away from a home where they know that there's something waiting for them, or where they are pampered, where they're cherished, where they're loved. Imagine what will happen if your husband puts you first and you put your husband first. Imagine what will happen. I always say that, marriage just serves. When we serve each other in the marriage, you're serving me, you're making sure that, I'm fulfilling purpose, life is good for me. And I'm also doing the same. What would be happening? It would be bliss. And that's one of the things that we have to make sure that we're doing for each other, to make sure that we protect our marriage. Now, make quality time as often as you can. Make quality time as often as you can. Date night is a must, guys. As in, it's a must. So even I am making sure that it's happening now, even if it's just Chinese. £10 Chinese, sit down in the car and just have date night and just chat and gist and everything. Sometimes if it's a movie, but date night is a must, please. Even if it's 1 in 2 months, tell yourself from tonight that we're going to be dating each other. It's funny, I posted that what's it called? I made a post the other day about a babe who they went for their team bonding. I know a lot of these offices do this now. They say team bonding, customer service department. They will go out, they'll go to one eatery or one bar and have fun, and they'll get carried away. So please, to avoid all this getting carried away, also have your date night so that when these things are happening outside of home, your spouse is not wondering, imagine all the fun I had last night. Please have fun with your spouse as well. Go out, go karaoke, whatever. Please. There's only one life, okay? It's not about having so much money. It's about doing those little things that can add value. Sometimes in the house here, we have movie night. I and the kids, we have a bucket of popcorn with my husband. We're watching a family movie. Sometimes just I and my husband, when we don't want the kids to see what is in the movie, if it's an adult rated movie kind of movie, we put it on the laptop, we put it in the room here, and we're watching, enjoying ourselves, and whatever happens after that is our business. Please, let it be like that as well, it doesn't have to be expensive. I think I've said that, focus on each other. That's what's important. Some of us will go on date night, then we're going to still be talking about the bills that we have to pay. So let's also be, just give room for love to grow, to blossom, hold hands, remind each other what you love about each other. Just remind each other, I just love your person. I just love the good man, the good heart that you have. Once in a while, chip it in conversations, kiss. Can I say that again? Kiss, 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 kiss. Is my husband there? Kiss, 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 kiss. But I realize that when you kiss, there's something it does to your heart. It will be sweeting your heart like this. So check yourself now. I'm talking to a lot of couples tonight and all those who will watch later. How often do you kiss? Kiss, like kiss, not just bye-bye. Kiss inside. The wife is going to work and it's that kiss that will fill her head until she comes back. And I'm not joking. So these are the things that we need to do, I believe that if we keep at these things, if the sex life is good, the romance is good, we are spoiling each other, we have expectation and we have boundaries that we're keeping, we're making each other a priority, and all those other things, we are praying. What do they want to offer them outside? They're like, my wife has it. And that's why I try to keep up my game. My cooking skills are great. Everything skills, all the other skills are great. But trust me, that's the calling. That's what we're being called to do. Husbands and wives, to satisfy and serve each other and make sure that we're giving our spouses the best we can give them. Spice up your bedroom life. I think I've talked about sex and all of that. But let me just add that don't let it be regular. I think a lot of pastors have started preaching this as well too on the pulpit, So please decide what styles you want to have. If you can do 69, do 69. If you can do whatever from the back, do whatever. Guys, do what you got to do if you want to do it. As long as both of you are happy to do it, please have fun. It's your life, it's your marriage. It doesn't concern me. Do you understand? So please make sure that when you talk about your bedroom, the word enjoy, it defines it. Oh, I enjoy, I can't wait. Ensure that both of you are enjoying your bedroom life as a couple. It is very key to affair-proofing your marriage. So this is what we're talking about. We're bullet-proofing our marriage from the bullet of adultery. Be intentional about your relationship. Let your relationship be something you're constantly watching its back. So even sometimes when I and my husband we argue about a little thing, I quickly try, just let it go. Even whether I'm saying sorry or not, I just make sure that we don't dwell on that fight too much, because I don't want to give the enemy more time to be telling my husband, you see that Jackie, she's a very stubborn girl, you see, and then because that's what the enemy does. He will leverage on a little crack on the wall and begin to whisper into your spouse's ear. So that's something as well. Please make sure, yes, Rodagrillo, make sure that as much as you can, be intentional. Look out for little cracks when there's a dispute, when something is causing unnecessary friction. Just scare yourself, please, I don't want this to happen. Sometimes I do things because just for peace sake, I don't want to crack. My husband as well. Sometimes you just say, okay, fine. Just because I don't want to crack on the wall. Because the enemy will use this little crack to enter. I have had a time whereby I was having, I was upset with something my husband did. And it was a man that the devil was whispering into my ears. You see, you did it. And then be telling you more reasons why you should be upset. Like, in fact, this night, And before you know it, some people are keeping malice for 3 days. Some people for 1 week. I've heard that some people even keep malice for 2 weeks. They'll not be smiling at women in the office, and then you are fighting your wife at home. So please are the ways to please bulletproof your marriage. And that's what we're talking about tonight. Be a familiar face. Meet their friends. Meet their colleagues. It is well. The Lord will help us in Jesus' name, Be very careful. I think I've said it again, never be alone with the opposite sex unnecessarily and for long. It reminds me of when my husband left Nigeria. It was something I intentionally was careful about. And this is me telling you about myself. It was as little as even the washman coming into the house to pick up my clothes. My laces and my other stuff that I couldn't wash with. My children's nanny couldn't help me with. It was, I'm telling you, I remember I was telling you when I came, I was like, even that the first few weeks, even the washman, I'll just open the door and give him the bag of clothes and lock the door. No need. Because I'm human being, I'm flesh. Do you understand? So and that's what we're saying. Be careful. Know your weaknesses. Know what you're strong at. There's no bobo. There's no, this woman said, she said, I thought I was strong. They asked me, I would say I can never fall for adultery. They were even part of couples club. And I've said it again, no secrets. Except it's a surprise for him or her, like a surprise party or something. Please have access to each other's passwords, accounts, social media accounts, whatever else. If you can share my body with me, then you must be able to share everything with me. Except I don't want to know. And that's the thing. Because it starts from these little things. You can't open my phone. You can't touch my phone. And that's how it starts. Be each other's best friends first. I think I've said that, please. The moment your colleague, your husband can talk to his colleague more than he talks to you, and they know everything about your spouse, and you don't know, there's a problem already. There's a problem already. On a daily basis, open to each other, your thoughts, your dreams, your worries, your happy moments. Do you understand? There's no reason someone out there in their office or in their group or in their bar meeting or whatever should know more than you know. Or should know more than what your husband is going through. Please just have some time where you just want to say, babe, what's happening? How's work going? What's that your manager? Just get them to talk to you. You must be in the know. If you are not in the know, you are failing. And I mean it. The Lord will help us in Jesus' name. Decide to love your spouse and love the 1 Corinthians way. So a lot of times when I love you, we say it so much, but please, it's not just a feeling. It's actually it's an action thing. So if you look at 1 Corinthians 13, it says that love is patient, love is kind. It's a long list. So you're supposed to be living out this love in your home. So be patient with each other, be honest. It says it's selfless. So if you look at the meaning of those words, they're very powerful. Be tolerant, be tolerant, because when you're able to love like this, I think it will be also very hard for the enemy to creep in. If you're able to be so selfless with your love, if you're not that person who's always picking on the other person, who is always, who's selfish, then I don't think anybody else outside will appeal to them. So these are all the things we need to just check. And then keep private matters private. So that's what I was going to say. So even to you personally, your feelings, your issues, don't start comparing your spouse or telling your colleague about your spouse, especially the opposite sex. Be telling them all the things your spouse is not doing right at home. Then they will now leverage on it, begin to do it right to you. Then they will now divert your attention to them. Some people do that. Some people are just agents of the devil. And that's the truth. Thank you, Adegoke. I choose to live out the love, not just in the lips. Thank you so much. Some people like that, you get vulnerable when you tell them everything about your spouse. Everything your spouse is not. That my spouse does not even buy me gifts. He doesn't do that. He's so insensitive. Keep your private matters private. Everybody's spouse has one thing they're not doing right. I have stuff I'm not doing right. My husband, so don't go and start blah, 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 and give them an opportunity for them to be the enemy that will crack into your home. So I said that, I remember a story I once heard where they said a lady actually told a man in the office that, what are you running home to do? She wouldn't have made dinner for you anyway. Go home later now. The baby won't let her have your time. Can you imagine that? Imagine a woman saying that to your husband who is running home to meet you. And that's what we're saying. Be very careful. Pastor Foluke, you're welcome. I honor you. That's what we're saying. Be very careful what you're saying to your colleagues at work. So she said that to him and she said, oh, what are you running home to go and do anyway? Because at the end of the day, you know that you said she's always with the baby and she doesn't have your time and that dinner will not be ready. So he had told them all of that in the office. And so if any woman wants to even crawl in, it's just for the woman to be bringing dinner to the office now and say, Shebi's dinner will not be ready. This is dinner. Then from dinner to, let's go and eat the dinner in my house tomorrow. I don't even get what I mean. So, and these are the ways, and this is just a way to just open up our minds. Even as women who are also carrying the children, the kids, it's good, fantastic. But be very careful. that you have not let the other person to now feel like they're not wanted or they're not needed or they're not you don't think about them. Okay, so I've said that enough. Rejoice in what you have and value it. I talked about Tamara and I talked about the fact that she wasn't content. So I also think that, a lot of times when we get married, because we see each other finish, so we see who the person, we see everything, how they behave, how they are, we now begin to say, oh gosh, oh Lord, I would have been better if I did that with that person. No. Rejoice in what, if you have married that person, rejoice in what you have and value it. The only reason that the grass is greener on the other side, whether for a man or a woman, is because efforts have been applied. So, and I think I've said that before, so I'm not going to say that again. Send a text a day. Hey, hon, stay smiling for me. I love you. Whether na Gary or na Burger, I love you still. Funny, encouraging things. Sometimes there are days my husband knows that we're going to have a show because I just send him a message, babe, what's up? I'll see you later at night. I have a way I just say things that make him know that it's getting down to this baby. She's not. Just please do whatever. Do whatever. Value what you have. Don't look at the other man who is like this. He dresses like that. He does like that. Value what you have. Tell them what you want to change. Yes, if you tell them, and that's why communication is key. Oh, I don't like it when you do this. Oh, I don't like it when you do that. But don't start, valuing the other person more than your spouse. This is your spouse, so deal with it. What you have and you don't value, some people are looking for it. Some people are actually saying, I wish I have Joke's husband, though. I'm telling you. And some people are saying, oh, I wish to lose wife with my wife. Look at a woman like this. I'm telling you. And then maybe the other person saying, look at this, my wife. Meanwhile, somebody saying, I just wish this baby is my wife. And that's the truth. That is how this life is. If you study, you that's just how it is. And so know that. Now, don't be paranoid. Don't be FBI because we're talking about, do this, do that. Don't be FBI. Don't be paranoid. There's no need searching and setting. There's no need. Because that alone can even open the door to adultery. Do you understand? Because when the person begins to feel like, she's always checking me. Okay, let me even go and do now. Because I've heard such stories as well. Do you understand? So please be very careful. Don't kill yourself. I wrote here, I said, don't kill yourself. Stay cool. Be patient. Let them always be able to tell you anything. Let your spouse be able to tell you. That's like the major thing for me. And that's why I'm saying it over and over again. Because the moment you're not able, if they can tell you that someone is flirting or somebody's inviting them for one, come to my house, something, or one woman is touching them or one man is sending them, flirty text messages. Once they can tell you that, then there's nothing else. So please make sure that happens. The last thing I also want to say is that your spouse is, as much as other people are concerned, your spouse is pretty much perfect. That's what they think. So convince them that they are perfect for you. Okay? Because one of the things that happens, so a lot of time when men or women, are committing adultery, is because you have also said something about your wife or your husband, they're not doing well. And so they leverage on that. So every time people look at your spouse, they're thinking, that Jackie is just so perfect for Tolu. And trust me, that's all they need to keep believing. And I'm telling everybody as I begin to round up this night, that's all they need to believe. The truth of the matter is, even if you feel like venting negatively about your spouse, please watch who you are venting to. Sometimes you just need to let it out, but just be careful that people are going to leverage on it. We all have our problems. We all have things to work on. We all have conversations we need to hold. But please keep those conversations for both of you. Find a good time. I learned that. Or look for a professional therapist if you really need to unburden yourself. Because sometimes, again, that's where the enemy can, creep in. Fill them up with love. Do the best you can. Give all the love you have, all the happiness, all the intimacy. Like I said, let me challenge you today. Let no one else be able to give your spouse something you can't give them. If you marry that person, then you have all it takes to be the perfect spouse for that person. If God has allowed that marriage to happen, you can go and read 5 love languages, because the truth of the matter is that a lot of us also, excuse me, please. A lot of us also have different ways that, we interpret love. So some people is gifts, some people is time. Just find out more. And that's what you owe your spouse everything. You need to know everything about them, So let me leave some time. I think we've covered quite a lot of things, I believe that we have picked a couple of things that we can go and work on moving forward. I trust that the Lord God Almighty will touch our hearts. I trust that the Lord God Almighty would rekindle anyone who is getting tired of, all the efforts, all the love that they're showing their spouse, but the Lord will rekindle them and re-strengthen them, to keep doing it. We can't get tired. Marriage is something that we do, and we do also to honor God. And so when you remember that, oh, God must be honored, you must keep at it, okay? We've talked about many ways to protect our marriage this evening. We would pray, we would keep praying, but we will keep doing everything we need to do to make sure that we are the best thing that ever happened to our spouses. And that's how it's meant to be, whether in good times or bad times, that we are the best things that ever happened to our spouses. Yes, I see everybody's comments, and I love it. I'm sure I've missed out plenty things I wrote, but it's okay. I I had to look at my notes, but I just trust that the Lord God will help us. One thing I also want to talk about is the fact that people who actually fall into the sin of adultery also have a problem with their self-esteem and their self. And so it's important that we also continue to build that. One man said, this other person values me. She would give me that, respect me, present this, and so I'd rather be there all day and I'll go home later at night, So just watch your back, and that's why I said watch your back, The Bible says in Proverbs 6:32 that, he who commits adultery lacks sense. He who does it destroys himself. So see, clearly, it's not a function of you. It's a function of the person. However, there are things we can do to make sure that we adultery-proof our homes. And the Lord will continue to help us. I trust that this has been a good time. Do we have questions? Question time. Auntie Amaka, welcome. I am Morino. You're welcome. Olati86, you're welcome. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Do we have questions? Ecclesiastes chapter 9. Verse 9 says that you should enjoy life with your wife. So, it doesn't say whether when there's money or when there's no money, or when there's a child or when there's no child. Enjoy life with your wife. And I think that if the Bible is, Solomon is telling the husband, it also means that, wife, you too, enjoy life with your husband. Have that at the back of your mind. Have that at the back of your mind every time. Love each other deeply. 1 Peter 4 verse 8 says, love each other deeply. I trust that the Lord will help us in Jesus' name. I pray that the power of God that is even above all of these things that we have talked about today, keeps our marriage, away from adultery, keeps adultery away from our marriages in the name of Jesus, because it can be devastating. I know. The DMs I get are like, oh, my life is, you don't want to experience. It's just better. And so I trust God for you, whether you're single, you're married, that the Lord protects your home, that God himself, because if you put him in, once there's a threefold cord, like I said earlier when I started, when God is in it, hold on to him always. And I trust him to guide and protect your marriage and keep it away from adultery and even all the attacks of the enemies. Not just adultery, there are many other things, but it's just that this is what God has led me to do at this time. And I trust him to do so much more for you. I trust him to give you a home of bliss, enjoyment, fun, God-fearing children, and all of that. I love you guys. I hope you love me too. I know you do. Any questions? No questions. Let me see who else is here. Iniolua is here. Olua show. Okay, any question? Anybody wants to ask? If no question, then we'll be wrapping up. I trust that the Lord God Almighty would perfect all that concerns our homes. We're having a session next week by the grace of God. It's going to be a coded one for faithful spouses, faithful spouses whose spouses are cheating. But it's going to be a private session. It can't be an Instagram one like this, because I know that nobody wants to come out to say, oh, I'm the spouse of the person cheating. So, my speakers I have Mrs. Amaka Chikambu is one of those that are going to be speaking to us. She wrote a book about what to do with the other woman, 49 ways to get rid of the other woman. Go and follow her on Instagram at Amakachi Kambono. It's going to be a blessing. How can we book you for a private session before marriage counseling? Hey, Brown Coco. Oh, you can. Please send me a DM. Brown Coco, I know you're in London, so that even works for us. So I have a pre-marriage counseling coaching session. You know that. I think I spoke to you about it. So please DM me and we'll book a slot. It's a Symbis one. So you're going to first do have an assessment. It's going to give me a 12-page results about both of you, and then we'll take it from there. We're going to have one-on-one sessions, talk about what the result says, and then we can tell from it if you're good to go or if you still need to work on more stuff. Oh yes, please, I do that with all pleasure. Just send me a DM, and of course I'll book a slot for you. How do you handle a situation where a friend is attending to other men's calls passionately and receive money and gift from them? Let me understand. A friend. How do you handle a situation where a friend is attending to other men's calls? Is it a friend or a fiancé? Oh my God, I have 28 seconds more. Oh no. Adequate Grace, can you DM me, please? Oh dear. Is it a fiancé that's attending to that men's calls passionately and receive money? If it's a fiancé, a lady you're dating that is doing that, that's not right, okay? So, and you better tell yourself to run away now. These are little things that we see now that we say, oh, we can manage it. And receiving money and gift from them as what? We have to define it as what? And they must be able to tell you. If you're not sure, if you don't know what's happening, then you tell yourself, I gotta be out of here. Let's be sincere. I love you guys. Bye.